Okay, بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Okay, so this is our second discussion on this book, chapter 2. Well, we did chapter 1 and now we're doing chapter 2. So I just wanted us to take a look at maybe some questions that was missed in yesterday's dream class by our new Ustad. I call him BUJ, British UJ. So if there's anything that was missed, that or a particular phrasing or a particular chapter or a particular line, a particular page that you guys would like us to look at in details, or maybe do the grammar of it, try and translate it. I can also help you to see how I come up with the translations, why I choose the words that I choose, because when you go to the dictionary, for example, you go to Hansware and one word has like 15 different meanings or different words, which one do you choose? So we can also discuss how my process of selecting a particular word, what do I consider when I choose a particular word for that particular context? And sometimes I might choose a different word for the same word, like a different meaning for the same word. Like, you know, for example, in this chapter, the word tajaddud and al-huduth, for example, this one, al-huduth and tajaddud, these are words that appear a lot in this chapter. Also, thubut also appears a lot. So you'd find that in different parts of my translation, I would translate it differently, slightly differently. It means the same thing, but you know, sometimes I might say thubut translated as permanent, sometimes as established, sometimes, you know, different thing. Same thing with tajaddud. Sometimes I would use renewal, sometimes recurrence, sometimes regeneration. So depending on how I understand the context, I would choose different words just to make the text understandable. And I hope it can actually be understood. That's the whole point of doing that translation. So I'm gonna ask you guys now. I don't know where you want us to begin. Did any one of you have any questions in page 1 particularly? Maybe we can just go page by page and we see any grammatical thing that maybe you want us to look at, or any translation to analyze it and see what we can be able to come up with. Yes.
So Ilham, ذلك النحو خالق is there in the second paragraph, second line. I mean third paragraph. I didn't find this in any of this one nahu, وذلك نحو خالق, second line.
Second line of this page. Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
خالق. Okay.
Where did you get this one word from, Sister Ilham?
So the translation of this part.
Yes.
So you understand wow, you understand dalika. This part is clear. The first part is clear. So I'm guessing the confusion is.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sister Ilham. Zalika is most of the time it is giving different. Sometimes you're taking it as a that. Sometimes you take it as just because. You know, rather than these bigger words with their meanings, the small things like inna, zalika, in these creating more confusion than these words, Sister Ilham, to make a frame of the sentence. Because yesterday Ustad you just said, instead of going with the word to word, it's better you go by sentence to sentence.
Yes, absolutely. So, if you go word to word, you would lose the meaning. So let me just show you what you're trying to ask. So let's go to Ijtal. We're gonna go there. I'm gonna. Oh, okay, you erased it. Okay, fine. So yeah, I'm gonna search for. So when you're looking at the word dalika, let me break it down for you. Let me pull up. Where is it? Okay, let's just use a Word document. I'm just going to use
my... Ilham, until you get that, most of the words I got it from Aratus rather than Maani and Hansware. So am I going on the right process? Is it correct? Or it's better to go through the Hansware only?
Okay, so personally, I prefer Hansware, but other tools will give you like a foundational, basic, common usage of the word. But sometimes the author is using the word in a non-common usage. For example, if you go to If you go to Ara tools and you type in ذلك, obviously I'm pretty sure that it's gonna tell you that, and that's just it, which is true. ذلك means that. It is the most common usage for the word. So if I just type ذلك, okay, so ذلك, here it is. It means just that. So it gives you that. But you see, in this context, using it as that might not be the best. Or there are actually other words that ذلك comes with. Now I was going to explain. Actually, ذلك is not just one word, ذلك, like that. You know, like this is one word, ذلك. It's actually three parts. So there's the, which is actually now, this is the word itself, the. That is the ismul ishara. Like if I'm pointing to something, I'll say that. This is the ismul ishara, just that. And then you have lam, li, and then you have ka. So these are the three parts to this word. So you have the ismul ishara, which is that. Li is for, it's called lam lil ba'd, for far. It's pointing to something that is far, in other words. So that is pointing, lam, to something that is far, and then ka is you. Now I'm bringing your attention to something that is far. So I'm trying to call you to look at something that is far. This is how you break down dhalika. And then you have also tilka. Tilka, it's for women and things like that. Dhalika and all these different ismul ishara. That is the pointing word itself. The others are addition. Li is for farness, and that's why you have dhaka. You will see also in the text, you have the word dhaka. The lam is removed. But this also means that. Just the lam of farness has been removed in this case. And sometimes you just have that being used alone. So you have these variations of dhalika. So
Sister Ilham, how would we know? Sometimes the dhalika is, yesterday Ustad was translating, dhalika was used as an example also. As an example, as another. So how would you know what might be sounding silly, but these things have keep troubling me.
Yeah, I know, because it's a new concept, like it's a new way of thinking, because you know that the way they taught us in Baina, they're like dhalika, all this, it means that. And now all of a sudden it has different meanings and you don't know where to begin.
Yes.
So now when you understand that dhalika is actually made of three parts, you know where to search. You don't actually, when you come to handswear, you don't type dhalika, because if you type dhalika, you might not find it. So you know that the ismul ishara is just that. You're going to type that and you're going to do enter. So, or you're going to just, yeah. So you see, it tells you the demonstrative pronoun. So this is an ismul ishara. Plural, ula'i. So ula'ika, the ka is for you, for attention, to bringing your attention. So that's why they didn't say ula'ika. They just say ula'i. So that's the plural. And it also means this. And now you see, they're giving you variations. You have bidha with a ba harf of jar before it. And this has a different meaning. By this, by means of this, thereby. Lida, again, also has a different meaning. And that's why you see I prefer handswear to other tools. Because if you put this in other tools, it's just going to give you that. The meaning is that, and that's it. And then you have hakava, limadha. You see why it gives you more variations of that word. And now you have
I didn't know
dhaka.
this. Good. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
See? Dhaka.
So we can choose one of them according to the sentence, Sister Ilham?
Now you choose the one that makes the most sense according to the context.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of like how so you see dhalika begins here. So dhalika, the female version is tilka, and plural is ulaika, and it means that one, and you have, by means of that, in that manner, depending on what you're trying to say. So in this text, text, it says wadhalika. You could say and that. Nahu qawlik is an example, and that is an example of your saying. You could say something like that. And I think I said something like that.
Thank you, Sister. Jazakallah, Sister Ilham. That was really something new for me.
Yeah. So you just, you have to know the different parts of that word. And if you know how to search words in handswear will make your life so easy. Most of the time I'm using handswear. Yeah. I'm just trying to see how I translated it. Oh, no, not here. What was it? What was the text?
From that first one, from that.
Okay. Oh yeah, so here, and it could very well be that the matter hasn't happened yet, and it's still brought in the nominal form to indicate that the matter is in the degree of consciousness. Yeah, and that, see, I used that, and that, I put this in bracket just to make it understood better, and that could be seen in your saying, for example. So just the English to flow. So the words I put in brackets is just to make the English flow, basically. Okay, great. I hope that's clear. I can see some questions in the chat. And no problem, Jazila. Okay. Fawzi has some questions. So the word that translates as renewal and recurrence and revival, how do we decide? Yeah, good question. So we basically, most of them, if you look at those words, they're very close to each other. Renewal, regeneration, recurrence, they all kind of mean the same thing almost. So if we are to go to Hansware and type in, so you have to know the root of the word. So if you don't know the root, again, Ara Tools works best for that. So you just come and you write the word that maybe you're looking for. So in this case, maybe tajaddud, was it used? Yeah, we can use tajaddud. So you go to Ara Tools and you type in tajaddud, tajaddud. And it tells you, okay, modernization, renewal, revival. You're not so sure. You're like, okay, let's see if there's another word. See, it tells you the root words is jim and dal. So from jadda, yajuddu, and of course now this is a different family, tajaddud. What family do you guys think this is? Tajaddud. It's a masdar.
تعلم.
Yes, ta'allama, exactly. So you come and type jad, the 2 letters, and it tells you, see, oh, yajiddu. I said yajiddu. So jadda yajiddu. It's Daraba family. And then, of course, you go to, this is family 1, Jadda Yajiddu, this is family 1, but we're looking for Tajaddada. We're looking for family 6. So we have family 4 here. We're going to continue going. We have family 5 here. Where is family 6? Oh, unless it doesn't exist, and this just exists as a separate mustard. Let's see. So I'm going to continue to the isms. So we have Tajdid, Tajaddud. Here it is. So it doesn't exist in family 6, but I don't know if it doesn't exist, by the way. It could exist in some other dictionary and it's not appearing in Hansware, so that could be something else. So Tajaddud, it says renewal, regeneration, revival. Okay. So you probably just pick one of this and see which one makes sense in that particular context. So if I find, like, in the context of, for example, life, talking about life, then regeneration it makes more sense because life is regenerating. If it's in a constant of maybe, I don't know, then like something is not living, maybe renewal. Revival could also be like from something that is living, I guess. So it just all of them can apply actually. And recurrence is the hadatha. So if you type hadatha, hadith, not hadith. So normally the way Hansware is organized is that you have the families first and then you have isms afterwards. So I'm actually looking for isms. So here is hadith, huduth. So you see, huduth also appeared in the text. So huduth, sitting in. I think I used this occurrence at some point or incident at some point. Yep. So the context of what you're trying to translate or how you're understanding what the author is trying to say will tell you which word is the closest. And sometimes I don't even find the word that is the closest to what I feel the author is trying to say. So I will go to just dictionary.com and look for synonyms of that particular word. And then I'll find the synonym. Like, for example, I was struggling with which word? There's a word that was used that I was struggling with a bit. Don't remember. I think I changed it a little bit later. Insistence. Yeah, it was the passage, the tough passage on page, I think 30 something. Yeah. So the passage on Al-Kashaf, this was the passage that I think took all our brain juices away. And we thought and thought and thought. And up to now, I'm still thinking about this passage. And every time I go through it, I change one thing, or I keep doing that. So if we go to that passage on Al-Kashaf, this is page 30, was it 32? Yep, 32. So it uses the word litawkid here, okay? And we know tawkid means emphasis. But then I was like, emphasis doesn't feel like emphasis of what? Like stressing what? What is it trying to stress? It didn't feel to me like it was like initially I'd used emphasis, but then this line, honestly, I think I'm going to translate it several more times. I don't feel like I've captured
which page? Which page is this?
This is page 32.
32.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm just showing you how I select words. But yeah. So on page 32, you have this passage. This is a quote. You see the brackets? The author, Dr. Fadil Samir Ra'i, is quoting this passage from the book Al-Kashaf by Az-Zamakhshari. Okay? And this is old Arabic, way old Arabic. It's really difficult to understand it. So you have this part that I'm still struggling with right now. I've come up with a translation, but I'm not 100% sure. I still don't understand what it means. But then I wasn't convinced by my understanding of the word tawkid here, because I'd used the word emphasis. And then I went back to it and I was like, maybe what other meaning could tawkid imply here? So I went to the dictionary, I went to Hansware, searched for tawkid. So if you go to other tools and you type in tawkid, and you tell you the root letters is wakada, then you go to Hansware, type it in, and then you look for that. So tawkid is here, tawkid, plural is tawakid, and it means confirmation, affirmations, assurance, assertion, emphasis, stress, stylistic intensification, corroboration. So these are different meanings. But I couldn't find the meaning that I wanted. So I went to dictionary.com, synonyms, and I tapped in the word emphasis. Not in Arabic, of course. Emphasis. And it gave me insistence. And I felt like insistence is closer to what maybe the author is trying to say. I wasn't sure, but that's the word I went with eventually. So this is my process. Like I would go to other tools, not find the word. I'll go to Hansware, and I'm not really seeing the word that is being implied there. Then I will search for synonyms of that word, see what other options are there in English. Because you see, English is such a limited language compared to Arabic. Arabic is such a vast, diverse, like it's an amazing language, honestly. So trying to capture the meaning of Arabic in English is a task, but we try. I hope I've answered your first question, Fozia. So that's just my process. How do you decide? You look at the context, what the author is trying to say, which word fits better. Sometimes it's interchangeable. You would find somebody else using that same word and you're using a different word, but the meaning is the same. It all means the same. So just pick one. If the meaning is interchangeable, just pick one. There's no problem. But try to find what best works for that particular context. And then you have page 25, line 8. How do we come to understand ba'du, as yet, and ma'a dhalika, as still? Okay. So we're still on page 25. I was just in page 32 trying to show you something there. My process basically. So line 8. How do we understand ba'du, as yet? Okay. So basically what Ustav said, if you have ba'du without ism mudaf ilayh, it's probably going to mean that. But we can still find the meanings. If you go to Hansware and you type in ba'du, and it's going to come here. So not ba'uda. So we skip that. We go to the next page. Here, ba'd is fanas. We're looking for ba'du. So here it is. So you see, it gives you all the different meanings. Ba'd means then, thereupon, afterwards, later, after that, and the following, still, yet. The meaning is there. And this is a different combination now. فيما بعد, it means afterwards. فيما بعد, we'll talk فيما بعد. If I say نتكلم فيما بعد, or نتحدث فيما بعد, it means like we'll talk later, or we'll talk afterwards. فيما بعد. So this is also pretty handy to know. Some of these words we were actually discussing in my groups. If we could, in one of my groups, if we could come up with some of these handy phrases, like they're very. No, most people don't know them, but they determine what the sentence means. Like for example, if I say, I don't know. If we're to look at that example, so وربما كان الأمر لم يحدث بعد. If I translated this as one of the other meanings, and perhaps the matter had not yet, without using yet, so perhaps the matter didn't happen thereupon, or didn't happen afterwards. You realize that it doesn't make any sense. So again, you go back to your logic and ask yourself, okay, so which word fits better here? Perhaps the matter did not occur in the following. No. Perhaps the matter did not occur after that. After what? They didn't mention anything before. Perhaps the matter had not occurred still. Maybe that could work, but so you realize that the best option is actually perhaps the matter had not occurred yet. Okay, the matter has not occurred yet, and still this happened. So that kind of brings in the meaning more clearly. So that's kind of just how it's a bit of a process, but yeah, you just have to do it. So that's how you come up with the meaning of that.
I have a question here. Can you go back to Hansware? So in the first line, after Badu, you've got then, comma, thereupon, then you've got a semicolon. Okay.
Yes.
And then you have afterwards, comma, later, comma, after that, comma, in the following, semicolon. So these are groups of words which are interchangeable.
Yes.
Correct. And then after still, comma, yet, we have this line. And I've forgotten what this means.
So this is telling you this is a different word. Like ba'du ends at yet. But then this is the beginning of now fima ba'd. Whatever comes after is explanation of the phrase fima ba'd.
Right, the phrase. Okay.
Yeah. Same thing, you see a semicolon here, then you have amma. But I don't know.
I thought the phrases were different from the semicolons. They were differentiated from the semicolons, but then now this line has appeared as well.
Yeah, somebody also asked this.
And I do remember, perhaps it was Aziz who was doing the dictionary. I cannot remember, but there was somebody who was doing it, and they had talked about these different annotations in Hansware.
Yeah, he mentioned it. I also remember, but I don't remember how he explained it. He mentioned it.
No, I don't either. But was it Aziz?
Yes, it was.
I mean, we can, I guess, ask. Okay, so we can ask for
the recording is in one of my videos actually. So maybe I'll reshare the link again.
Oh, it was yours. That's right. It was yours.
We did together.
You and Aziz had done it together. Correct. Maybe I need to go back to that one.
Me too, actually. It seems I normally don't pay attention to this thing. Like I just read because I feel like I don't know. I rarely need them. Because you can still understand Hansware without. But yeah, I think this line maybe could mean something that maybe we need to. I'll try and find it out because there's a site he shared. I need to look it up where all this the abbreviations and all these things are given. So you can check out the meaning. Maybe I'll share that inshallah later.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. But I hope
just cross check once again. This line indicates the phrases which is coming because of that ba'da, right? Fima ba'd, afterwards, or it could be later.
Yes. The meaning of fima ba'd means afterwards or later.
and then this semicolon, and after that amma ba'd, then C or C, right?
Yes. So they're telling you to go look at the word amma. You want to know what amma ba'd means? Go to amma. That's what they're saying. So instead of searching for ba'd, you search for amma.
This one, what does it mean? One amma means this. We have to go and search for amma. Okay.
Yeah, you have to go to search. Yeah, that's where you'll find.
Maybe there's a footnote down at lower in the page. Maybe there's one footnote there.
And unfortunately, we don't have footnotes. Maybe on the app form, maybe it would explain further if you're using the app.
A quick question here. Have you been using the app?
I used it once, but I don't know.
You find this one better?
I find this one better, honestly, because I only used it once, so maybe I haven't figured it out completely. Because I find the app really easy, easier than this one, because it also highlights it in every place that you're looking for. You're looking for a word.
Could you please share the link for this Fawzia later?
Yeah, I'll share it on the WhatsApp. You'll have to download the app for Hansvia.
Yeah. So I honestly, maybe I have to use it a little bit more for me to understand how, but I've been using this longer, so I find it quite easy to use it. Okay, one more very basic question. Sure. Could you move up the page? There was an I there for Badu. Oh, the first Badu that we came across. Okay, here. No, was it there? Where was it? No. The first place where you... Ba'uda, yeah. Okay, that's the verb. There was an I after that. Ba'uda, yab'udu. Was it here? We can use this. Okay. That's ba'uda, and it would be yabda. Yab'udu. Sorry, the youth that's coming after it. This, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, this one. How do we use this? Okay, so this tells you which family, which clan member. So we know this is family one, ba'uda, like karuma, right? Ba'uda. Yes. Yeah. So it just tells you this is the mudari' version of it. The mudari' version of it is going to have a u. Ba'uda yab'udu. Karuma yakrumu. Okay. For example, if we had another, let me look for another verb. There is one. Let's go to maybe a different page and see if there's another verb. So yeah, so you have ba'atha, then you have an A. So this tells you this is fataha. Ba'atha yab'athu. It has a fatha. So A is for fatha, U is for if there's a dhamma. Yeah, and then you have E, like I. I is for daraba. Okay. Yeah. I just understood that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. No problem. And if you have sami'a, for example, you would see the madi is actually going to be written instead of ba'atha, it would be written ba'itha, and then with an A after it. So it would be ba'itha and then followed by an A. So that tells you that sami'a yasma'u. The ba'itha would be B-A''I. Yes. T-A, ba'itha. Yes, it would be written like that here. So that will tell you this is Sami'a, and then yeah, different families like that. Hasiba, you'd also see it like it would have it would be written like Hasiba, Ba'itha still, but then there'll be a kasra here, an I here instead of an A. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. No problem. Okay, so that's basically my process. How do we know it's Ba'du? So that was one, and then also the same thing for still. I don't know how. ومع ذلك. So مع ذلك, basically how to translate that as still. So again, you go to, I don't know if we search مع or that. So again, if you search that, I don't know if it's going to be mentioned here.
مع ذلك, which page? 25?
Same page, say 25, yes. Just the same paragraph. So she was asking about بعد and then مع ذلك. So بعد is translated as yet, and مع ذلك is translated as still. So how do we know that this means still? And especially because both of them have different meanings. Again, context kind of will tell you that. So you try different words and see which one works best. So if we come to ذلك, see مع ذلك, you'd find it here. And it means yet, it means still, nevertheless. Actually, nevertheless would also work here instead of still. So you can decide to use nevertheless for all that. This is the literal meaning, for all that. مع ذلك. But of course, here, this won't make sense. So you start ruling out. So you see, yet could also work. You could say, but then you would have yet. That would just be redundancy in speech. So that's why probably you won't translate it as yet. So still and nevertheless here works best. Yeah. And you see also other options, like you see وَذَلِكَ أَنْ, these are different meanings. And that means, or meaning, to be more precise.
Saad, keep it there. Saad, keep it there. Keep the, you sit properly. You sit properly. You are being awakened late in the night. You are making me awake late in the night.
I think you're on mute. So maybe you can mute yourself. Okay, great. So yeah, so that's how kind of.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, no problem. So that's kind of just my process of how I decide. I look at the context, see which one fits best, and then just go with it. And read the sentence a couple of times. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense, and I go with it, and then later I realize, oh, the sentence did make sense. Why did I pick this word? So yeah, it doesn't come automatically. Sometimes it's going to be a process a little bit. I hope that is clear. And then we have
Sister Ilham, could you tell about the وَذَلِكَ نَحْوُ قَالِكَ وَذَلِكَ نَحْوُ, the same page 25.
Okay, so ذَلِكَ means that. So the other word that you may not have known is nahu. So if you to come to here, or you could go to other tools, but other tools I feel like might not give you the best explanation of nahu. So nahu means similar or example. So here, no, this is nahu. No, nahwa.
The root is nahu. Oh, wow. Sister Ilham, nahu.
Yes, nahu. This one. Nahu, plural, and ha. So direction, way, course, method. See, it has a lot of meanings. So similar, like, somewhat. This is how we are using it. In the manner of, which would be like example. Ala nahwi ma. So you just have to know like which nahu to use, because there's a verb that is also nahawa, but this is an ism. So you go to the isms. So when you look at the isms, it gives you by way of, by manner, cause, direction, similar to, like, and this is where we are saying example, because like is like this is an example. So if you're to use maybe, for example, وَذَلِكَ نَحْوُ, and that is like you're saying, that is like you're saying, or that is an example of your saying. I think I used like here. Let me just confirm how I translated this. And that could be seen in your saying. So I didn't even like translate it. That is like in your saying. You could even say that is like here. That is an example of your saying. Something like that, but then translation is pretty much fluid. So as long as the meaning is the same, what I'm translating and what you're translating is the same, it's fine. I hope that was clear.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
Sister Ilham, one more thing. Annahu has same as that of different meanings.
Yeah, so anna has different meanings. Like when we were doing advanced structures and we looked at the different meanings or the different kinds of anna. So anna could be because, it could mean that. Most of the time it means that, but it could have different meanings depending on what it's doing in the sentence. I don't know if Hansware discussed it. We can just check. I normally don't. I have not searched it before. I don't know what Hansware. So anna, no, not that one. So an, yeah, it means that. No, it's anna here. Sorry. is basically, by the way, there's an al-mukhaffafa, which is the weaker, like the shortened version of anna. So it means what anna means, but it's a shortened version of anna. So that's also a type of an. So you come here, anna means that. Then you have bima annahu. So this phrase bima annahu means since he or since it, or because. See now the because meaning because it or because he. Ala annahu, again another phrase here. It could also mean while he or while it, whereas things like that. Introducing a main clause could mean however. Yeah. So you see how Hamza is pretty handy when it comes to these words, like these small words. Yeah.
You just typed alif and noon, right?
Yes.
Alif noon.
Yeah.
Okay.
For these words that do not have like jidr, like they're not verbal, you don't have to you just type it as is.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what other question was there. So I don't know if there are any other questions on page 25. Oh, there's the page 25, line 5. We translated صاحبها as its owner, but BUJ translated as its carrier. Can we look at it again? Sure. So صاحب, it could mean owner, possessor, carrier. It's a very fluid word. Again, translation, you just look at what it means. I think I used possessor. So صاحبة, that would be the root word. صاحب here. So صاحب, صحبة, associate, companion, comrade. Again, you can't use friend here because it doesn't make sense. You can't use associate because it doesn't make sense. So you look for the word that makes sense. Its follower, maybe, but possessor, owner. Of course, you can use master or lord. Again, doesn't make sense. So you look for the word that makes the most sense. I think he was just being very, again, with translation, you don't have to like be exactly accurate. Like as long as the meaning is understood, like the one who has that attribute is the carrier of that attribute, is the owner of that attribute, is the possessor of that attribute. I prefer possessor to owner because owner
we should look into the noun forms still, huh?
Yeah, this is the
we are looking into
sahib.
Sahiba yashabu. This is not the this is a noun form still.
Yes, fa'il, sahib. So you can see the isim fa'il pattern. Fa'ilun,
is it sahiban? It means sahiban.
Sahib, yeah.
I thought this is sahiba yashabu. I thought because a is
No,
there
this
after
is
that.
here. Sahiba is over here, right?
Yeah.
But we are looking at this one. Sahibun.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So this is where we're looking at. It means the same thing because the isim fa'il is basically the one who has that character of sahib, right? So that's why you're seeing the same meanings from here and here. Because it's the same, it comes from the same word. Yeah. It's the isim fa'il of sahiba yashabu. So, but yeah, these are the meanings you're looking at. So you look at the meaning that is most closest. Personally, I find possessor or even holder. So, yeah, so you see carrier and holder, probably they're synonyms, holder, carrier. And I think that's why he translated it like that. So you see it's more or less the same meaning. As long as it's bringing across the meaning that the person who has that attribute, the one who is holding that attribute or carrying that attribute or possessing that attribute or owning that attribute.
So it doesn't necessarily to have the same translation what he had gone through with whatever it means with the same meaning, whatever it carries the same meaning, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Even the owner, the carrier, the holder.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, as long as the meaning comes across and it's clear to the person reading it. If they're reading the sentence, they can actually understand what you're trying to say. And it's not very different. It's not different from what the author is saying. Then it's fine whichever word you use. It doesn't really matter. As long as the meaning is passed across at the end of the day. But of course,
okay,
you can't
I don't understand.
and.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is the actual sentence, even with using the possessor or owner. The sentence is the adjective is entrenched in its owner.
Yes.
Seems like very hard English. Yes. And so I don't understand what is happening here. I guess that's another thing.
So I guess you have to look at the whole text, the whole paragraph to be able to understand. So from that is the usage of, so he's describing the usage of ism and fi'al, and he mentions that fi'al is, you know, has to do with continuity, recurrence, regeneration, this whole renewal business, while ism indicates, you know, permanent establishment, something that is firmly fixed, whereas ism, fi'al, indicates something that continues. Okay, so that's basically his argument. He's put his argument and he gave a couple of examples. He said, for example, when you say he's learning, it's a process. It's continuing, right? It's not done. It's not complete. It's not set. It's not firmly established. It's a process. He's still in the process of doing it. But if you say he's a learner, then that means it's an attribute in them, right? Like it becomes a sifa. I am a learner. That's my description. But if I say I am learning, that means I'm actively in the process of learning. You see the difference? So that's just what he is trying to bring across. And he's saying that when it comes to an ism, that attribute of permanence, that attribute of completion, that attribute of well-established, whatever it is, that attribute is firmly entrenched in its possessor. Whoever is possessing that attribute of, for example, the example of learning, whoever is possessing that attribute of learning is well established in them, so we call them a learner, because it's an attribute. We can describe this person as a learner because it's a firmly established attribute of theirs. Like if I say a person is, for example, what would be the best? A baker. Person is a baker. You don't call a person a baker because he baked one, right? A person becomes a baker when that attribute is firmly entrenched in them. So that's when we call them a baker. And the example he gives here is the preserver versus preserving. But I think the baker or a teacher is an example that you can easily understand. So if I say somebody is a teacher, this is a person who is like well established at teaching. You don't call a teacher after, you know, graduation and they taught maybe one class. They don't qualify to be a teacher. They just taught one class. And you see, we are using the verb taught. He taught one class. It's a verb. It has to continue. But when I say he's a teacher, then you understand, oh, well, this person has been teaching for a long time. It's well established. It's entrenched in them. You know, this attribute fits them. I don't know if that makes sense now.
It absolutely makes sense. I just understood what this whole thing means. Yeah. Because I'd understood the ism and fi'l, but because I thought the attribute is firmly entrenched in its possessor meant the attribute is firmly entrenched in the ism. While you explained it as it's entrenched in the learner, in the person. Yeah. Now I understand. Thank you, Jazakallah.
Yeah, so that's kind of just what that meant, really.
Sister Ilham, one more thing. It's on page 20, page 28. Page 28.
Right there.
I usually get confused with this double parentheses, this double brackets. I don't try to derive from where this is starting and what is trying to point it out. This one, you can say this farraqa. Where I get confused is this parenthesis. It's pointing at the first one. It's pointing out where, and the second one is trying to fit out, trying to point out at which conversation. Do you see this farraqa bayni tarafi? This one. Could you please explain this one? Double parenthesis.
So I'm just gonna check what is talking about before. إنه بدأ الآية بالجملة الاسمية وكان مستدعى اسما أيضا ثم جاء بعده باسمين آخرين هما ذات أنباء. كذا هذه الأفعال في هذه الآية.
I know it should go with the text, but sometimes I get you know, when I see your book, you know, your translation, but that would be at the end, of course. But when I'm trying to deal with it, I could not correlate which part is being maybe because of my poor Arabic. I couldn't correlate this parenthesis from with which topic it's been pointing at.
Okay.
Am
So
I
I
getting
think,
clear to
yeah.
you, Sister Ilham?
Yeah, you're getting, yeah. So you see the first two brackets over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have those first two brackets. That's the beginning of whatever he's quoting. And the end of whatever he's quoting is here. So that whole thing he's quoting somewhere. Okay. And he has actually given you the dalil of where he's quoting. So you see that superscript there, 20. If you go down to the text, it tells you 20 is Ma'ani al-Abniya. That is the book where he's quoting from. Ma'ani al-Abniya. So I don't know which book
He's
that is.
quoting this two quotations, this two parentheses is from that Ma'anil Ambiya, Ambiya, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Abniya.
Yeah. So from
That is
all the way
taken into double. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that whole part is quoted from there. That's basically what.
So you use it two brackets. You use it as two brackets.
Yeah. But inside there, you see now there's obviously ad'awtuhum here is in one bracket. That bracket is complete. And then you have this one. It begins there and it ends here. So that's the complete of that bracket. And then of course you have this other one that is also complete here.
Okay.
So that's kind of just how you follow the brackets along. I wish he had used parentheses or something else, quotation marks. Not quotation marks for quoting, because we're all familiar with quotes. If something is in quote, then you know it's being quoted from somebody else.
Yeah.
But I guess in Arabic maybe they don't use that, or so they prefer brackets, because brackets is confusing. I think even at first I was like, why is he putting things in brackets? What's happening here? But it's like the way we use quotation marks in English, or rather I use quotation marks in English. He's using brackets in that way.
Jazakallah khair. And one more thing, Sister Ilham, what is the difference between dalatan and dalalatan? Both are the
is a sifa. Well, no, it's just different forms. Let me confirm that. I'm not.
It means the same, right?
Yeah, but they are different forms. So.
Of a same root word, right?
Yeah, same root word.
One is sifa and other is masdar, Sister Ilham?
I think so. Yeah. But let me just confirm. I'm not 100% sure. So it comes from this word dalla yadullu. As you can see, the meanings: to show, indicate, point, demonstrate, yeah, things like that. So dalal, we are looking for. You said dalala?
Yeah, dalatan and dalala.
Yeah, so dalala is here. Pointing, guiding, leading, indication. Ala, especially if it comes with ala, means indication. We saw that a lot in the text. Dalalatun ala, indicating. And then ad-dalla, let's see if it's there. Dalla, here. Dalla, it's here. Hope you can see my, yeah.
Dal
sorry.
alif, it should be, yeah.
That's a different word. Sorry. That's a pot. Oh, here, dal. Oh, is it this one? No, down
Should
here.
I admit one more thing, Sister Ilham? Whenever you try to search on, Hansware, you get it. And I to get it with you. When I try to do it all by myself, I don't know, I miss it out. I don't get anything.
You just keep practicing, I guess, because yeah, I've been doing it.
It's easy to find out the words, and you just type it and you get it. When I type it and get it, I just struggle with it, and I don't get the words.
I think first,
it's not just you. It's all of us. I think all beginners. Just wanted to let you know.
But you could use our tools to just give you the root words. Once you get I think maybe the root words could be the problem, because if you don't get the right root words, you don't type in. Like for example, you see, I didn't type dal, lam, and lam. You notice that? I just typed dal and lam. I didn't type.
Yes.
I know the word is dalla, like it's muda'af, dal, lam, and lam. Those are the three root letters, but I didn't type dal, lam, and lam. I just typed dal and lam. Although if you go to Arab tools, it will tell you the root letters are dal, lam, and lam. So the trick is, if you see like the two last letters are the same, just type one. And it will get you closer to where you want to go. Dalla. Oh. I'm not so sure if it's this one or this one.
So, Sister Ilham, the Hansware shows the adjectives, the nouns, it shows everything?
Yeah, it does. But you just have to know. I mean, like, it doesn't tell you that this is a sifa, this is an ism maf'ul. Like you see now here, madlul. Madlul is in the form maf'ul. No, this is ism maf'ul.
Maf'ul, yeah. That basic knowledge we need to have that one.
Yes, that's why sar.
Okay.
That's why sar comes in.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
So Ilham, one more thing, quick question, because I know the class is about to end in 15 minutes. We were discussing about Yuji also said about this Musnad and Musnad Ilai, and I have sent a forwarded message as well. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Yeah.
Musnad Ilai is who, the person who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And Musnad is what we are talking about. So in Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, we are talking about Allah, right? So he is Musnad Ilahi.
Yes. Musnad Ilahi.
But it's written ulta, right? It's written wrong in the message, isn't it? Sister Ilham?
It wasn't written as Musnad Ilahi? No, the Musnad Ilahi is Alhamdu. What is our topic? What are we discussing? We're discussing Alhamdu. So Alhamdu is the Musnad Ilahi. That's the topic of discussion.
No, the Musnad Ilahi is who it points at the person we're talking about.
It could be a person, it could be a thing. Whatever we are discussing, that's the Musnad Ilahi.
So it is wrong to tell it as who, right? It is wrong to tell it as who.
Yeah.
It could be who or what.
Yeah, it could be who or what. Yes.
So Musnad Ilahi would be topic, right? Musnad Ilahi, topic of a thing or a person.
Yeah, that's why, in Nahu, we talked about Mubtada Khabar. Musnad Ilahi, most of the time, is going to be the Mubtada. Not always. I'm just saying, like, the topic of discussion is mostly similar to the Mubtada.
Okay. But
of course, in Balagha, you use Musnad and Musnad Ilahi. They're very similar to Mubtada and Khabar.
So the Musnad Ilahi would be the topic of thing or a person, and Musnad would be what is the topic of a thing and a person.
Yes. Specifically what? Because in Nahu, you realize that Khabar is more than just what. Khabar could be a whole entire sentence. But in Musnad Ilayhi, just the what. Okay, the predicate. In English, it's called the predicate. The object, the predicate, and whatever. Yeah.
Oh, it's not restricted to just Jumla Ismiya. It could be with Jumla Fi'liya as well.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'm not so sure. But yeah, I think so. I have to confirm that, honestly. I'm not 100% sure. But what I know is that in Balagha, they just look at what is being discussed, what is the main topic, or who is the main topic, and then what about that topic is being discussed. And then you have the qaid, which is like a limitation or a restriction to that discussion, basically. Okay. I still have to do Balagha. I didn't finish. That's like a pending thing on my end. So
yeah, even I have not done it.
Yeah, it was intense, honestly. Like, it was a lot. 4 hours. It was a lot per day. It was crazy.
Okay, so again, clarifying, Musnad is the topic, so it's your Mubtada.
No, Musnad Ilayhi.
Oh God. Musnad Ilayhi is the Mubtada, is the topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So how you understand it is Musnad is what is being discussed, what, and then Musnad Ilayhi is the person or the thing attached to the Musnad. And it's opposite.
Yes, it's opposite. It's taking me long to understand this.
Yeah. So think of it as opposite of Mubtada Khabar, like, yeah. Okay. We were on this is page. Okay. I don't know. We finished 25. I don't know if there are any other questions. Let me see in the chat. Okay, so we did that. Page 31, line 7 and 10 has the same words for kana. They translate the same way. Let's see. Page 31, line 7 and 10. Page 31. So ولم يقل يظلمون وذلك معناه أن الظلم كان وصفا ثابتا لهم مستقرا فيه. So you're talking about this past كان, I'm guessing. كان.
Yes,
then...
the sabitin, wasfan sabitin phrase.
Okay.
BUJ pointed it out, and we've got the same 4 words, but zulm is first in line 7, and it's second in line 10.
I see.
So I'm just trying to understand if that switch is making any difference in the sentence construction.
Okay. So أن الظلم. So of course now we look at that as a مبتدا. أن الظلم. That would be our first مبتدا. And of course كان we also treat it as جملة اسمية. So this whole thing will be the خبر of أن الظلم. But then كان is also a مبتدا, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course now وصفا. And of course كان, this كان, it goes back to أن الظلم. Like it's kind of pointing back to that. So وصفا. Like the dua here is the inside dua in kana, basically. And then wasfan thabitan, that will be the khabar of that kana. And then in this second one, إذا kana, now this one, the kana has an outside dua. It's not like before, you had an inside dua, huwa.
Okay,
Now here,
so
az-zulmu is
yeah,
the outside
that becomes
dua.
the ism of kana.
Yes.
Again, mubtada, but now this is the ism of kana.
Yeah. The ism is mentioned there. I mean, the first one, basically, it's pointing back. The ism of kana is pointing back to zulm. Although it's huwa, it's the inside pronoun, basically. So that's how you would look at it. Hope that's clear. All right. I don't know if there are any
Sister,
other...
ذلك أنه, how would you translate as ذلك أنه? That is because that?
Yes, that is okay. Yeah, somebody actually asked me that question. Like, how do I say that is because that? It sounds redundant in English, yeah? Like it sounds repetitive. So, actually, if you come to ذلك again, Hansway is just pretty cool. I love Hansway.
I can see that.
Yeah. So you come to Hansway and you see وذلك أن. There we go. So how do I translate ذلك أن? Which means that. So I don't have to say that is because that. I can say which means that. Oh, to be more precise, this is to say. Yeah, so you can use any one of them.
ذلك أنه, what is who presents there then?
It.
Whatever the topic it will.
So it's just going back to whatever is being mentioned before.
Whatever
so which means that it, or to be more precise, it, yeah, something like that. Okay. So yeah, these are some of the ones that we were talking about compiling a list of them. Like these are very handy phrases that most of us don't know how to translate.
Sister Ilham, one more small thing. I was chatting with one of my sisters, matlab the sister from Dream Group, and she was asking that the phrasal words like ذلك أنه ذلك, all these words, it would be better translated in Al-Ma'ani dictionary. But when I translated, when we were trying to translate into English, it was giving something else only. So apart from this, because in the mail, I just mailed, the Ustad has mailed us like regarding this Hans, you have to follow, if you want to follow, you could follow Aratus and Al-Mani. So in any way, the Mani is going to help us in this assignment. If yes, and what way we can make use of it?
So I mostly use Al-Ma'ani when I get stuck, like completely stuck. I don't know if I don't find the word in Hansware. So my first source I go to is Hansware, because I'm used to it. And if I get stuck, that's when I'll go to Al-Ma'ani. And the reason why I do that is because I use Al-Ma'ani in Arabic. I don't use Al-Ma'ani in English. So I'm gonna try today. So we're gonna say وذلك أنه. So if we have to type ذلك أن, okay, so it comes. Okay, so let's see what it brings. So ذلك أن, because ذلك أن, for. So you see again, it doesn't give you I don't know. So أضف إلى ذلك أن, in addition to that. So by the way, this is pretty handy to know. أضف مضاف in addition. You know, we know مضاف and مضاف إليه, but when you see مضاف in a sentence, it doesn't mean مضاف and مضاف إليه like إضافة, like we know it. It could mean in addition to, like somebody is mentioning something in addition to that. Okay, إضافة وبالإضافة. If somebody says وبالإضافة, they're actually saying and in addition to. Don't be like, where's the mudaf? What are they talking about? There's no grammar here. Yeah, so that's pretty good to know also.
So you did this English to Arabic translation, right?
Yeah.
English, Arabic,
Yeah.
English. Okay.
Yeah. Here it's English, Arabic. I don't know. I don't know how to use this honestly, because I honestly
No,
I don't know
don't
which
get
one I
that
would pick.
easily. You just did it and you got it. I don't get easily. Something it gets, something I have to see. You just went into directly into the search forms, Istilham, or you just into Al-Ghani or something like that.
No, so if it's English, look. So if you normally I use Arabic. So if you go to Al-Ma'ani, you see all these languages at the top. Like you could literally pick any one of this. If you want Urdu might be easier. You select Urdu, and then you type it in Urdu, and then it's going to be Arabi Urdu type of dictionary. Yeah, but of course I don't speak Urdu, so either it's going to be mostly I use Arabic. So if I use Arabic, then it will give me the different dictionaries in Arabic. So I prefer to use Al-Ghani. So I normally come to Al-Ghani, then I would type whatever I need to type. Yeah.
Okay.
But if I'm using English, then you have to change to English. So when you change to English, then you can insert the word there. If you say, let's try and type it in English, because I've never used this in English before. So if I say because, it gives me some words. بسبب, من, لأن, لما, was. So all these words could mean before and because. And you see all this other, again, at the bottom as you scroll, you'll see more words for because. Or you can even type it in Arabic and it will translate it in English. So بأن, if I'm to type بأن, just type بأن. So again, بأن appear, and with that, بأن, with that, literally. An means that, B means with, so with that. So kind of like.
And then what is this political Istilham? Assumption that political
الأدعاء بأن.
It's related to us, or it's okay, we can skip that.
I think when they put it in this the brackets, it tells you in the context in which it is used. So this is used in political context.
Okay.
And then you have like, this is a common expression.
Common expressions, yes.
Legal, psychological, things like that. How it is used.
The Arabic language is, we can say, vast. It's massive, huge.
Absolutely. You appreciate it when you learn it. You're like, they even have it computer. Like, subhanallah. Yeah, I wouldn't know that. Like, how do you know this? Interesting. Yeah, maybe I will start using Al-Ma'ani in English as well. But honestly, I prefer my handswear. Any other questions on the text? I know UJ did, BUJ. Our British UJ did a wonderful, amazing job.
He did. He's really good. I wish we had more time with him to do the text.
He said he'll figure out.
The biggest thing I got stuck in was where to place the invisible is, because the sentences are so long. I kept on translating, and then I couldn't figure out where to put the invisible is. Right. For example, one of your sentences in the very last tranquil night, it's page 33.
Yeah.
The last, so line 2, you've translated it as the deviation to metaphorical expression after that is an artistic acquisition. And I translated it, I did not put the is after that, after Badu.
Okay.
And so it wasn't making any sense, and I couldn't figure out what to do to make it make sense. So I keep getting stuck with that because the sentences are so long.
Mm.
The mubtada is long. So like VUJ identified sentence structures. You know, like we know Ka'anna and Li.
Yeah.
And then he identified, yesterday he identified Fahuwa. Remember the really long structure that he showed us?
Yeah.
And so that made so much more sense because it was such a long sentence.
Right.
That's something that I'm struggling with. I keep on making the sentence, but then I don't know where to put the invisible s. Any suggestions on that? Or
Yeah,
is it going to come to me?
I'm going to try. I'm not BUJ, but I'm going to try. Okay. So, yeah. So what you will realize the way Arabs speak is that متعلق is the biggest part of discussion. Like the mubtada and khabar, they're very small, but the متعلق is it could be like the biggest part of that entire sentence. So you have a sentence like you see فعدل من الفعل إلى الاسم. You have this متعلقs that just continue and continue and continue. You're like, okay, where's the khabar? Like what's happening? So if you understand how to deal with the متعلق, then and if you know where the متعلقs end, then you have a pretty good idea of what the author is trying to say. So that's one thing that I have personally come to understand from this text. Like the muta'alliqs are very, very long. In fact, you realize that whatever interjections in between sentences is going to be a muta'alliq bil khabar. You have a mubtada, then a massive muta'alliq bil khabar in the middle, which is of course another big sentence inside it, or rather actually comprised of so many smaller sentences in it. And then you have the khabar somewhere, or you don't even have a khabar. Like it's just متعلق, yeah, and even the Quran is like that. You realize. So that's just one thing to notice where the متعلق begins. Yeah.
Sister Ilham, page number 31. فقد فرق. Page 31. The last paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Again the brackets over there. It's bracket under the bracket. This is it. The فقد فرق بين قولهم للمؤمنين. And this page number 32 starting وَذَلِكَ إِمَّا لَأَنَّ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَا تُسَاعِدَهُ. This one. Yeah. So okay. This under this bracket, this part comes under it.
Yes.
Again, there is a quotation under the quotation. I
think so, unless there's a typo. So again, you have to be very careful. Sometimes there's a typo. So what I would like to do is, where is the? Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna open it up. The original text. This is reading advanced text. Just to be sure how it was typed. We're doing I think family, yes. No, I've gone too far. I think it's there. فقد فرق. So فقد فرق, it goes. You see the brackets just keep going. There's no brackets over here. Where in Baina, I think they put brackets over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see in the original text. Sorry?
Is it a typo there?
Yeah.
Keeping the double. Okay.
It's a typo. Like this brackets over here. These ones are not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So you see in the original text, he just started there's two brackets there. فَقَدْ فَرَّقَ بَيْنَ قَوْلِهِمْ. So you have that goes all the way to here. Sorry. Here they put a bracket. Inna ma'akum, and then they put two brackets here in Bayna. But you see, in the original text it's not there, so it's just a typo. And it goes all the way up to here, little kiddy. This is the end of the bracket. And he's telling us that that's number one, that this is from Undur al-Abniya. So check out this book, Al-Abniya. We saw it before,
okay.
Al-Ma'ani and Al-Abniya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that was a typo there. Okay, so we're gonna go back to.
Did we is the original available on Bayyana? Or did you download it from
They
somewhere else?
posted it a long time ago. I think it's there in study materials or something. There was a time Ustad was, I think when he was doing that series in Ramadan, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he posted it there.
Could you
I
please
like
post it in the
using it
Ilham, so that we can.
for reference. Yeah, I will do it, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the recording of the previous sessions like Ustad had told UJ to do. Am I looking in the wrong place? I've gone into study sections, but I can't find Ta'bir al-Quran recordings.
I think he hasn't done them yet, because he mentioned in the
Okay.
video yesterday that he's going to work on them.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. Thank you.
With the translation. So that's gonna make my life easy. 'Cause-
We are so grateful to you, honestly. So many
Indeed.
duas for you. Thank you so much, Jazakallah
Thank you so
khairan.
much, Sister.
Proceed.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair.
إياكم جزاكم الله خيرا. Yeah. So I was gonna look at this ayah that you brought up. No, this sentence that you brought up, Fauzia, because you were struggling to put the ease. So we're just gonna look at it and see how to go about it. So BUJ read this as تقررت أنت version. I read it as
Yes.
تقررت. And then of course دلالة I put it as the outside dua of تقررت.
Yes.
And I think both can make sense.
Yes, we
But
can.
of course the translation is going to be a bit different. After you have decided, now this will be the مفعول دلالة نعمتي, the proof of, but I don't feel like anta would make sense here, because you're not deciding. Allah is the one who decided to put the favor of, the indication of the favor in the beginning of the ayah. He's the one who decided to indicate that. So I feel like when this has been decided, when this indication of the ni'mah was determined or was decided in the beginning of the ayah by Allah, of course, that's how I saw it. كان العدول. Again, this word I struggled a bit, but like UJ mentioned, it's just moving from one thing to another. And because we're talking about speech, I found it best to use the word digress, because digress is when you move from one speech to another. So that's why I translated it as digress. So when you digress from one thing to another, so you're digressing from literal speech to figurative speech, for example. That's something that comes up. Yeah. بعد ذاك, after that, ولما تقرر دلالة النعمة في صدر الآية. I'm trying to figure out also the part so that I see where. So of course this is a جملة فعلية. So that will be our فعل. The fa'il is here. It's the outside dua دلالة النعمة, according to my understanding. That will be the fa'il. And of course في صدر الآية, that will be the متعلق. Again, this is a new sentence. كان العدول.
Yeah.
A new sentence.
It starts as اسمية.
Yeah. So كان العدول. This will be the مبتدا.
It's ism of kana, right? Al-udul will be the ism of.
Yes, the ism of kana. So that's our مبتدا. This is our, you see how the متعلق now just kind of take over.
Yeah.
بعد ذاك, all of this is a متعلق. So you see where the is comes. Is will come here. Yeah. Because كسبا فنيا is the خبر of كان. So of course the is comes here.
Because all of this was متعلق in the body.
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah. So gotta watch out for the متعلق. They're the ones that are gonna trick you. Because you'll be like, what is this long sentence? And by the way, they're normally very long sentences. You will have ila, min, and you have a chain of idafa and a sifa to that idafa. And you'll be like, what is going on here? And maybe a hal to also that. So you have a chain of idafa that has a sifa and has a hal. And maybe a tamiz. And it's all muta'alliq. Yeah. That's Arabic for you. Oops.
So Sriram, tamiz will be the singular noun common for the
nasab.
For the nasab, right?
Yeah.
No.
It
It will be for the mansub. Tamiz is for the description of what is being said, right? Specifically. Describe.
If something ambiguous, if an ambiguous word is used, then you'll have a tamiz. Or if numbers, also we have tamiz. Or when you have isim tafdil, also come with tamiz. So
Tamiz.
if I say bigger than, so that's whatever comes after than, it's going to be a tamiz. Oh no, sorry. If I say like bigger in what? Like bigger in age, bigger in size. So that size, that age, whatever that's going to be a specification of how big it is. So again, it's still an ambiguous word. And so it's just.
So Sriram, how would you translate is or ida?
Is or ida? When? Or when? But depending
Both
again on the
could be
context.
So we can check this in the answer as well, Sister Islam.
Yes, we can.
Hamza, the alif, the ida like that, right?
Yeah. So does it talk about it here? No, I have to type it. Okay. So this is ida. Oops. So you have ida here, but let's see, before that, there's going to be id. So you have id, okay? So if it's an introducing a verbal clause. So for example, if you have the beginning of a verbal sentence or a verbal clause, you might have is dhahabu.
Yeah,
and it always
at
comes
that
with
time.
another. Yeah.
At the same time, this all can mean according to the sentence. We can use it out, right?
Yes. It means then. It means then. Idhaka. So you see some of these phrases? Idhaka. It means then or at that time, at the same time. That's idhaka. But then also id can mean when, since, the more, so as, because. Then you have id inna. This is a different phrase, id inna. So it means for, since, as. So you see some of this. Actually, I'm finding there's so many words for since. Id laysa was one of them. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? I was like, how do you? Yeah, that was very interesting. So you have ida as well here. So again, it's just an introducing. Now you see ida, they're saying introducing a nominal clause, and then id was for verbal clause. So that's something maybe interesting to know. And it also means then, all of a sudden, like ida hum, this is ida al-fujaiya. Like it means suddenly something happened. Like in the story of Musa, it says the snake suddenly appeared. Yeah. So the word ida is used. Or I don't know which surah it is, but you have Allah talking about a people who are stranded in the ocean and they beg Allah desperately to save them, and then Allah saves them, and idahum yushrikun, and immediately, suddenly, they start worshipping idols or associating partners with Allah or doing shirk. So that's idal fujaiya right there. So it means all of a sudden. When it comes with that, it means there was. So either be there was, or all of a sudden there was, depending if it's idal fujaiya. And then of course the other meaning is if it's used as a conjunctive. I don't know what. Yeah, English is. I don't know the grammatical terms in English. By the way, I'm really poor when it comes. That's why EMSA is so hard for me, because I don't understand those words. But yeah. So it means when, if, whenever, whether. You have idama, also again when, whenever. Illa ida, unless this happened. Illa ida, basically, yeah, it means unless this happens, or if not, except when, which means the same thing. Except when or unless means the same thing. Yeah, I hope that's clear now.
Is any group working on compiling these phrases, or we should just keep on looking at Hansbeer?
Yeah, not at the moment. I don't know any. It was just a by the way, like maybe we should do this, and then people are like, yeah, we keep saying we should start this, we should start it, but nobody does it. So
Everybody's so busy trying to do everything.
I know. Yeah, so that's the challenge, I guess. But maybe
So
one
one
day.
of the things that I've noticed is on the app, you can't find these words.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm not looking at them correctly, but on Hanswehr and the desktop version, you can find them very easily.
Yeah, actually, I tried searching for some words in the app and I couldn't find them, and maybe that's what discouraged me from using the app. So maybe they're still developing it and adding more words, because this one was just like the book was just printed as it was, scanned as it was, and then just put it on the website. But with the app, I think you have to type the words. Maybe it's not yet fully done. Maybe, I don't know. All right. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or any other parts of the assignment that you would like us to look at.
No, it's fine. Alhamdulillah, it's clear, sister.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for this session. There were so many questions roaming about which we couldn't ask and had not sent in either. They were such small questions, but thank you so much for helping.
Oh, no problem. Just remember, it falls down. The sentences fall down to the basics of what we learned. If it's a جملة اسمية, مبتدأ خبر متعلق بالخبر. If it's a جملة فعلية, فاعل فاعل مفعول متعلق بالفعل. Those are the basics. You start from there, it's gonna come. You will understand this quite easily. Inshallah.
We're going to start crossing out all the mutallaqs and then try and find
Yes.
out the mubtada khabar. That's what I'm going to try and do now.
Yeah. So yeah, ask yourself, this is a muta'alliq, where does it end? Okay. Close it first and then look at the khabar, the mubtada and the khabar first. And then the muta'alliq
Inshallah.
last.
I'll find my answers.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Okay. I think we can end there if there's nothing else. I'm going to stop the recording. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.